Black Mirror, the dark and twisted anthology series that leaves you not just questioning your whole life, but existence itself at the end of each episode. Arguably one of the greatest shows of all time is back for Season 7 on the 10th of April. So it only seemed right to look back on some of the greatest episodes from this series. In today's Flop 10, we are ranking the top 10 best Black Mirror episodes of all time. Heads up, of course, spoiler warning. Number 10. In the 10th spot is an episode that was so good, we will be seeing the first ever sequel in Black Mirror. Yes, it is of course USS Callister. Within this episode, we follow Robert Daly, played by Jesse Plemons, who is a co-founder to a tech company that produces a sci-fi multiplayer game called Infinity, which was a virtual reality role-playing game. The twist, as there always is in Black Mirror, was that he created an offline version of the game where he implemented characters based off his colleagues. But these weren't just random AI. These were completely cloned, sentient versions of those people. Yeah, I know, it's messed up. The tension in this episode is unreal, with Robert holding all of the power. If you slip out of his roleplay, then you can find yourself in big trouble. Sounds like some GTA RP servers. For me, there are so many elements to think about in this episode. In theory, he isn't technically doing anything wrong. These aren't real people, they're just code. But they're sentient beings, forced to follow his orders. And he crosses the line on numerous occasions, making you realize this isn't a game to him. This is a way for him to have power over those he simply doesn't in real life. You do feel bad for him. He's a pushover who can only find solitude in the gaming world, but he achieves that in a sickeningly demented way. But I also think this is one of the better endings to Black Mirror, because it doesn't necessarily leave you in a state of despair like many Black Mirror episodes do, and I very much look forward to see where these characters end up next. Number 9. Sticking with the gaming vibe, Season 5, Episode 1. Striking Vipers. Best mates Danny and Carl get a brand new virtual reality game. I do promise Black Mirror does do more than just VR. A simple device attached to your temple, and then boom, you enter a Mortal Kombat-esque game where you have free reign to use the characters in any way you like. When I say any, I mean any. This episode was a very interesting watch. The concept of sexuality is greatly explored within it, and it really left you thinking about what the future could hold for gaming, relationships, and a lot more. You see the strain this hobby has on the relationship Danny and Theo have. It is, in theory, cheating, but is it? It also leaves these two characters wondering what this means for their friendship. Did this feeling transcend the game? The idea of gaming bringing people closer together is explored, albeit very close, but the gaming also created a greater isolation and separation to the real world, to those people in your real life. The ending sees the couple adapt their relationship to make space for this newfound hobby, really leaving us, the audience, questioning what would we do in this situation. Let me know in the comments down below what you would do. All I'm saying, if I was playing a game and my friend was looking like that, whatever happens, happens. Number 8. After a 4-year wait and a pandemic to boot, we finally got more Black Mirror with Season 6 releasing in 2023. Yes, this season was mixed, but no one can question Episode 3, Beyond the Sea. 80 minutes of pure craziness. We follow our two characters, Cliff and David, who are on an important mission in space, but they are able to go home whenever they want by transferring their sentience into a carbon copy robot on Earth. It's all sweet and cushy. They complete their tasks for the day and then enter a machine to transfer over to their robot self on Earth and live life with their loved ones as normal. Wait, what? It all goes tits up and leaves you feeling sick to your core after you finish watching it? Fantastic. As cool as they were, the robot versions of themselves brought a lot of negative attention from a weird cult who believe that the existence of replicas is unnatural and a defiance of nature, and they think defying nature must have a cost. That cost, you ask? Literally unaliving David's whole family in front of his robot eyes, and then to top it all off, they destroy his replica, leaving him truly distraught, mourning his family's death and being the complete definition of stranded as he is stuck in space without a replica to get onto Earth. Now, I could be here for ages talking about this episode, but of course, David starts to use Cliff's replica at times to allow him to escape and deal with this grief. What transpires here is genuinely horrific. Long story short, David, after some shenanigans, ends up doing what was done to his family to Cliff's family. Cliff finds out and it kicks off. But what was truly sickening about this episode was how it ends, knowing that Cliff could do nothing to David, as he needed him to be there to keep the ship going, and they were only 2 years into a 6-year mission. So 4 years they had to live with each other, knowing that, how on a tiny spaceship in space. Never. Black Mirror, you've done it again. Well done. Just, that's horrible. Number 7. Moving on to a slightly lighter note, we have San Junipero, an episode that explores love, death, and the afterlife. I'll be honest, It's been years since I've seen this episode, but I just remember how beautiful it was. We follow Yorkie in this beachside town called San Junipero when she meets Kelly, and we see their relationship blossom. The big twist this episode? Just something little. San Junipero isn't a real place, and it's actually an artificial afterlife that the elderly can upload themselves onto before and after death to continue living as their consciousness enters a younger version of themselves. Just this concept alone was unreal. We see these two characters within the artificial world, and then we see what they are actually like in the real world: weary, weak, and old. It is one of those few Black Mirror episodes that has a happier, more uplifting ending, where you see these two characters live on their life within this world, within San Junipero, and it most certainly left viewers potentially wishful for a similar technological advancement in the future. Number 6, Season 4, Episode 4. Hang the DJ. In a world with dating sites everywhere you look, this episode in 2017 couldn't be more relatable to the modern world. But this app was different. Each match were given an amount of time that they were told was the perfect amount of time to be with that person, with each of them seemingly happily following this algorithmic decision. But we know that Amy and Frank were truly meant for more. Over the episode, we see the highs and lows of these relationships, the struggle that many people can relate to of failing talking stages and always longing for the one. Just me? We see these two decide to come back together and rebel the system and attempt to flee the town they were in. They go so far, they end up escaping the Matrix and leave the system. In a very confusing scene, we see many different versions of the two of them, and then boom, 980, 98% match. Then we see Frank and Amy in real life matching and going on a date. Just like that, it becomes prevalent that what we were watching was indeed the algorithmic process itself on how this app actually finds your perfect match. Number 5. Yeah, that's enough of the heartwarming vibe. We have another episode from Season 6, Loch Henry. Now this one was certainly a slow burner, but then that slow burn went on to turn into a full forest fire. Yep, too many times I forget how Black Mirror can make you feel at the end of an episode, and this might be one of the worst. An aspiring filmmaker decides to make a film with his partner back in his hometown in Scotland. They initially want to make a film about egg theft, but David's partner learns of the true reason why his childhood town is a ghost town, and she wants to shift the film story to be focused on that. A horrible serial killer who tortured and murdered 2 tourists back in the 90s. Now I can't say too much about this episode without this video being locked down and never shown to anybody, but the twists in this episode are actually unbelievable. Like, the last thing I'd expect David's sweet mother to have been involved in is the horrific acts depicted in those old VHS tapes. Like, what? One of the most harrowing scenes in all of Black Mirror is the scene of David sitting in his room, achieving his goal of making it in the film industry and getting the recognition for his film by winning an award. But at what cost? He loses everything in this revelation. Yes, he achieved his dream, but in this quest, it tore down everything he knew and loved. Just that short moment of him sitting in his dark room, a close up to his face, and the horrid realization that you can see. I was just wrecked after this one. Number 4, 2011, Season 1, Episode 2, Bare Bones Black Mirror. Daniel Kaluuya puts in a fantastic performance in 15 million merits, a dystopian world where people live in boxes and spend their day earning merits by riding on bicycles. Within these boxes are screens that constantly grab your attention, whether that's a game, a TV show, or an unavoidable ad that you have to sit through. There isn't too much explained in this episode about the world and why it is set up like this, at least I don't remember it, but the story in it is unrivaled. Our protagonist Bing meets Abby and hears her singing. For a certain amount of merits, 15 million, you can join a talent show, and he is adamant she can get out of this life by going on the show and winning it. After getting enough credits and pushing her to do it, the X Factor vibe judges tell her no, and she could have a career in a different realm, in the adult film industry. We're left stumped at what happens and devastated to see not just her dreams but Bing's aspirations for her ruined. Not being able to deal with the burden of this outcome after being forced to watch Abby's new film being advertised, Bing smashes up the box he resides in and works above and beyond to gain enough merits to take down the people at the top. He achieves this. He enters the stage and threatens his own life for things to change. But what happens next was such a solid twist. It's why it's in my top 5. His desire to take them down slowly fades as they reel him into their capitalist ways, and just like that, he becomes exactly what he wanted to stop. A man there now to perform and be put in front of all of those people that he was just like a few moments ago. It's quite a damning message from us being addicted to our screens to the idea that the desire and goals we have can certainly shift if our position changes. Once Bing got his ticket out, his care to take down the powers that be subsided, You can't help but feel flat and disappointed at the end of it, but it makes for a perfect Black Mirror episode. Number 3, Playtest. An American tourist is in the UK and is looking for a quick way to make some money to fund his trip. He sees an odd job about a horror games company wanting people to test out a new gaming technology. A quick hookup of his lets him know he could make big money if he was to expose some of the information about this new gaming revelation. So he goes to the games company and is sent to a private room to try out this technology. When he enters the room, his phone is switched off and he signs an NDA. However, there is a paper missing in the document and the staff member leaves to acquire it. So he uses this as an opportunity to turn his phone back on and to take pictures of the private information exposing the game. The staff member enters again and inserts the gaming tech into the back of his head. Soon after, his mum rings his phone. A nothing moment where the staff member says, "Oops, I forgot to turn it off," and we move on. We then see a wide variety of different games that can be played on this new tech. The main being the horror game that feels like what is happening in real life, basing things off of your biggest fears. Now this is a top 3 for me for so many reasons. The biggest one being that this episode builds in tension and complexity so quickly, you're quite literally on the edge of your seat, horrified to find out what has happened. Then the ending. Our protagonist leaves, goes home, and his mother has seemingly forgotten who he is. Truly horrific. And then we cut to the moment at the start. That nothing moment where the phone rang and he wasn't allowed to have his phone on, that caused him to die. We see him dying on the floor due to an electrical interference from that very, very cool. This was a roller coaster where, the ending of the roller coaster, you just hit a massive wall, bang, and you're just left feeling absolutely devastated. Number 2. In the first season of the Netflix distributed version of Black Mirror, we got an absolute corker of an episode. Shut Up and Dance. Just like many Black Mirror episodes, this one on a rewatch is completely black and white. 2 completely different experiences. I genuinely don't know if an episode had as big of a shock as this one. We follow our main character throughout this episode as he takes orders from a hacker who has a recorded video of him pleasuring himself. We as an audience don't know what to, but we can assume what it may be. To prevent himself from getting exposed to everyone he knows, he follows these orders from the hacker, and over the episode we are made aware that there are more people in this exact same boat as our main character, all following orders from the hacker to avoid being exposed to those they love, whether it's an affair they're hiding or something much more sinister. As we see them follow every order, fighting to the death, robbing a bank, we see a few characters we have seen get a troll face message from the hacker themselves, showing that they did all of that for nothing. The hacker exposed all of the people the same, and it left us with a behemoth shock, like an astronomical shock, humongous. We find out the person we have been rooting for, feeling bad for throughout this episode, wasn't pleasuring themselves to something we'd expect, but in fact indecent images to kids. That reveal was devastatingly horrific. There isn't an adjective to describe how the audience feel in that moment. Incredible writing, deceiving us from the very, very beginning. You literally never know what's going to happen in Black Mirror. Before we get to the final spot, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, and let's get to the number 1 spot. Number 1, Season 2, Episode 2. Still within the OG realm of Black Mirror before Netflix took it over, White Bear. This right here is Black Mirror, a dark dystopian sort of vibe, an eerie setting throughout, and an incredible story. We are introduced to our main character as she unknowingly wakes up not knowing where she is, but she sees people every so often filming her and recording her from a distance. She is tormented and pursued by masked people, and we can't help but feel for her, waking up with amnesia and going through all of this torment. She meets some people who are trying to help her, it seems, and we are completely thrown off by the writers. We think this is a story about a weird technology taking over the people of the town by a dodgy signal, so we root for her to destroy the signal and to save the people. But the twist. The big twist. This isn't a reality. This is a stage show, a performance for people to pay and watch. It's revealed to us that she is being punished for a crime she committed as she abducted and unalived a young girl in a horrific way. So her punishment is to relive this traumatic, eventful show every single day being plunged into this scary surrounding, and then to have hope that she can escape it, only to be revealed that it was all a game and everyone was watching and relishing in her pain. It really does open up a moral discussion. Is this a just punishment for the crime committed? Some would say she 100% deserves it, but it's so extreme and cruel. But what she did was as well. This is why we love Black Mirror. You don't just have amazing stories and twists, you have real life application to some of these stories, real life debates, and philosophical ones too. It's an incredible show, and I genuinely enjoy the majority of the episodes from it. I'll be doing more content on Black Mirror Season 7. Hopefully it's as good as some of these episodes in this list. Make sure to drop a sub. I've been Floppyleggs, and I'll see ya when I see ya.